15 years ago when KAUST was started, there was no university like KAUST in Saudi Arabia. I would say in the Middle East. So today is different. So KAUST is looked towards as in a leadership role. We are kind of seen as the Caltech of the Middle East, if you will. Okay.
At the more strategic level, there are universities where we have a joint PhD degree, right? And when we have this joint PhD degree, that is a more targeted type of collaboration where PhD students from both sides spend time in both sides and they have co-supervisors.
喺睇片之前，大家記得分享、讚好同訂閱灼見名家，最緊要撳埋呢個鐘仔，咁你就唔會錯過我哋嘅最新影片。
So each of these institutions really are truly renowned, and they're renowned for their forward-thinking initiatives in cultivating international collaborations, and also that would transcend the geographical boundaries. So at a time when we have many global challenges that really require international collaborations, I think it is really timely for us to have this panel discussion to discuss how we can promote more international collaborations across geographical boundaries, across institutions. So I know we are here between you and lunch, so I think we will be very brief in our remarks. So maybe first I just ask the panelists a general question. So it is clear that international resource has the potential to act as a powerful catalyst for the advancement of the higher education institutions. And I know that each of the institution really has their best practices in how to promote the international collaboration. So may I ask each of you to share with the audience, some of the best practices that you have, so that we can all learn from you and maybe adopt similar practices at our own institutions. So maybe I'll start with you, Tony. Would you like to share with us?
Sure. We have to ask why we want to have this partnership. I think, to me, it's really because the world is being globalized. So research cannot be just localized to any particular university or country, especially talents. That includes the faculty and students. They have to know what's going on around the world. So partnership is just a means to an end, to allow the people, the talent, to be aware of what's going on around the world, and that relationship will last for the rest of their career. I mean, speaking for myself, right? I'm from Hong Kong. I went to US to study. Now in the Middle East, you build up this network that is invaluable. For you, you get to see how other systems work. So that's one reason. The second reason is, some of these problems are universal in some sense, like sustainability, but they also have local variation and emphasis. So one can complement each other. So let's talk about Saudi Arabia, where I'm working now. So Saudi Arabia has a lot of sustainability challenges. Energy transition, there's no fresh water, really no freshwater rivers in Saudi Arabia, no freshwater rivers, okay? All the drinking water basically are from water desalination, okay? The climate is very harsh, as you can imagine. So it's trying to, for example, reclaim the desert. So there's an initiative called Saudi Green Initiative. It's trying to plant 10 billion trees in the Saudi desert. So those are the special challenges facing Saudi Arabia, but also it opens up opportunity to partner with other places that are this. For example, Singapore is also have water challenges. We have a lot of collaboration with Singapore. We have faculty, we have collaboration. China has been very successful in reclaiming the desert. So, this desert agriculture. So when you have a common problem, you can complement each other, then this will happen naturally. So that's my input to this. Yeah.
So may I invite Professor Gong?
Yes. Maybe for mainland China, the higher education internationalization may started from 1980s, when China opened its door. So from that, Peking University, of course, is the pioneer for internationalizations. Until now, we have more than 400 collaborators universities from, I think, more than 70 countries or regions. And we have tied collaborated with some excellent universities. For example, Harvard University, Cambridge University, Free University of Berlin, and of course, National University, Singapore. And also we have some center or institute established by foreign university. For example, we have a Cambridge Peking University China Center in our campus, and also we have a Stanford Center in our campus. And more recently, we continue to promote mutual connections. So we are actually engaged with 10 universities alliances. For example, we are in the Yalu, and also the April, and also something like that. And more recently, we also try to establish some alliance. For example, in November 2023, we established the DI-IDEA, so it's called Digital Intelligence International Development Education Alliance. So we gather with more than 30 universities. And so after that, we can discuss together how to face the challenge of AI and just such GDP and solar and everything. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Professor Goh. Professor Tan?
Well, I think there's no doubt that we need to collaborate because problems that we face are very broad and impacts on all of us. At NUS, we position ourselves as a global university, like many top universities. So if you look at our faculty members, about more than half of them are actually foreign faculty. So it's very natural that they carry their own connections. So 2/3 of our papers published are with a foreign author. And we collaborate with probably about 200 institutions all across the world, right? So there is actually a very natural tendency, all right, for collaboration, and this is more at the ground level. At the more strategic university level, we encourage actually collaborations through several types of programs. One is actually to work with partners to have joint PhD programs so that our students can be co-supervised with professors from both sides, both partners, and also for students to spend time to partly in the two partner universities. So that has been a very popular program, and that's a very popular program also to deepen the collaboration between two universities. And we have more targeted ones, like our collaboration with Duke University of US, where they came over and set up a medical school at NUS, of my second medical school. But that collaboration depends very greatly on the research between Duke and US, and in fact, the Sing Health medical cluster with Duke Medicine. And that is a more targeted sort of a strategy. And we have others, like depending on where the funding comes from, we can be more strategic in how we position ourselves in terms of collaboration. But the main point is that we look for partners so that for us to come into a partnership, it will definitely be a big win-win for both of us.
Thank you. So the collaboration is natural because it's through faculty and students. Very good. Thank you. Professor Yusawa?
Okay. So I'll make a comment from the medical side. So I think global partnership is very important, especially for our university, because university is focusing on the medical, but not a comprehensive university. So basically, we need a global or domestic partnership. For example, for humanity department, we need help. And also for the innovation of the technology, we need to collaborate with Technology Institute. So basically, we need. So I think there are two steps to promote a global partnership. At first, I think we need to share the clear image of the collaboration with each other with global partners by leveraging of each other's strengths. So to share the clear image of the collaboration, it is the first step. And after that, we need, anyway, we need to achieve the innovation with a global partner, even if it is a small success. First step, we need to achieve the innovation. And after that, maybe we can accumulate successful experience with each other. So this process is very important, I think. So this meaning, I think, we really thanks to President Tan to accept a proposal of a telesurgery project. So I think this process is very important, I think.
So it's a win-win partnership in the end. Thank you. So maybe I'll ask some specific questions for each of you. Maybe I start with Tony. So as Saudi Arabia opens the door wider now for international collaboration with the objective to foster an innovative society. So can you share with us, the specific role that KAUST can play in this particular, national initiative? I mean, you alluded to some of this in your speech. Maybe elaborate a little bit more for us. Thank you.
Yeah, so we just announced our strategic plan. In fact, there are two key components. One is we need to accelerate our impact through whatever means, commercializing our research, partnership with other in-kingdom entities. The other one is to focus on these 4 RDI areas. So KAUST's role is, KAUST kind of, 15 years ago when KAUST was started, there was no university like KAUST in Saudi Arabia. I would say in the Middle East. So today is different. So KAUST is looked towards as in a leadership role. We are kind of seen as the Caltech of the Middle East, if you will, okay, without undergrads. We don't have undergrad. So you talk about these 4 RDI areas, energy and sustainability. KAUST from day one, that's our research emphasis. So we are well positioned to do that. So when these 4 new RDI areas were announced, actually we were already aligned, if you look at it. But together with that is an increased expectation. So now many of the ministries and also even the private enterprise like Saudi Aramco, they are coming to us to try to do, you heard, we're building big projects at NEOM. Yes. We're doing this carbon capture. We're doing the hydrogen economy, cracking with Aramco. So those are great things, but it needs a little adjustment from the faculty. So I think the future is very bright, but it requires the faculty to understand, right? It's not just an ivory tower you do in the lab. Not everybody had to do that. We always emphasize the university has to align, but not every single faculty can or should align.
Sounds so exciting. So again, I'm sure some of us in the audience would love to collaborate with KAUST. And under your leadership, you led a delegation to Shenzhen and established this very important footprint in Shenzhen. I would say this is a very significant milestone for both sides, right? And you also signed MOU with some of the local institutions in Shenzhen. So what would be expected? I mean, through this kind of partnership, it's a very important partnership, and we would all love to know what we can anticipate to happen.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be glad to address it. But first of all, I say, we didn't ignore Hong Kong, okay? So let's get that out of the way. Well, Shenzhen, as I mentioned in my speech, when I was in Hong Kong for about a decade, I got to know it very well. Everybody refers to it as the Silicon Valley of China, or at least one of the Silicon Valley of China. There's like 5,000 technological companies in Shenzhen. Its GDP is much bigger than Hong Kong now. Okay, so what the purpose of we setting up a hub in Shenzhen is to bring the people from Saudi Arabia beyond coast. So our program allows other people. They have to go there, see it with their own eye, feel it with their work, get to know the people there, and hopefully they will bring something back to help grow the ecosystem. That's the idea. Okay, so we're only in the beginning. We already were very well received. We have a partner with several partners. One is the Innovation Academy from Professor Li Zhexiang. So we have some space from the Tsinghua. Tsinghua has a research institute in Shenzhen, so they give us some space. We have Tsinghua also has a graduate school in Shenzhen. Okay, so we partner with them about some joint degrees and so on. But we love to partner with Beida. Okay, we love to partner with Beida, but they have it there. So these are based on a real mutual interest. I want to mention one more thing about partnership. So Shenzhen is in our strategic plan. So in the strategic plan, it was very clear. We need to engage with innovation hubs around the world. Okay, but if you look at science and technology, if you ask a question, in the next 10 years, where will be major centers of science and technology? My personal view is the US, okay, I would say Europe is actually a second, but US and China. So those are the two things. So we are in the Middle East, or West Asia, if you will. So we got to hedge our bet, right? We got to be invested. I'll be amazed how many Saudis are learning Chinese now. Many of them speak fluent Chinese. They were studying. And
are you the tutor?
No, I speak only about 10 words of Arabic, okay? But you get online, you will see a lot of Saudis. Even Saudi Arabia is requiring the high school to teach 2 hours of Chinese per week. Per week. That's in the last 6 months or so. I don't know where to get the teachers, because you need to speak Arabic and Chinese. It's not so easy. So we have a partnership. So it's not just Shenzhen. So I'll give you one more example, our partnership. We have a partnership with Formula One, the race car, with McLaren. So McLaren is one of 10 teams. Each team has 2 cars. So we work with them on aerodynamics, you can see. We have a supercomputer at KAUST, so we can do the simulation for them. The other one original is fuel research. So, the fuel, and now big data, because they collect huge amount of data. I don't know whether you know, when you run the Formula One, they collect the live data and send it back to UK. It doesn't matter where it's run. They analyze the data and send the data back live in order to do that. So there's a lot of need for that, and they see us as a partner. So our logo is in the front spoiler of each of the 2 McLaren cars. Okay, so this is a real partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. So maybe I turn to Professor Gong. As a key leader in higher education, Peking University certainly has a very important role to play in shaping, the academic collaborations in China. So, what is your vision? How do you see Chinese universities, shape this global partnership?
Okay, as I have just mentioned, since last century, 1918s, the government is give a lot of support for higher education. So the higher education system in China has become larger and larger. I think maybe now is the largest higher education system in the world, China. So I have some date by 2023, we have over 3,000 higher education institutes in China, and more than 47 million full-time students. Yeah, so maybe a big number. In 1918s, before COVID-19. So we have welcomed over 500,000 international students every year. Of course, after pandemics, this number is decreased rapidly, but now it's increased, but it's smallly, not smoothly, not so rapidly, yeah. And during past 40 years, I think the Chinese university has developed very fast, and now, of course, more and more universities enter the ranking 100, even ranking 15. So I think for our university, we are ranking above the 20th positions in the world. And of course, ranking is not the only one evaluation created, but it's just for reference. So, as I mentioned, for university, Peking University, we're always looking forward for internationalization cooperations. So after pandemics, last year, we called this year as our university's Global Engaged Year. So we have this welcome 400 delegations from abroad. So usually about everyday effort delegation to meet. And also we have sent I think 30 delegations to the world. Myself maybe have visited more than 10 times abroad. So it's a hard work for me. And I visited, even visited the United States and Europe, Asia, therefore Japan, and also Singapore, and also a lot of countries. And we hope to establish the cooperations. Because of pandemic, we just can make connection by internet, go internet or something like that. But I think face-to-face is most important. And from the visitor, I see every university wish to have China and our university to play a more role in internationalizations. And also, we will try to do better than that. Okay.
Yeah, I believe many institutions would love to collaborate with Peking University, and that's why you have to host such a large number of visits. So we all know that actually Peking University has a very deep cultural heritage, right? So how do you see, leveraging on this deep cultural heritage? How would you incorporate this in the international collaboration? How do you leverage this?
I think, literature, how to say, we have a very long history of the Chinese cultures, but we always had harmonics and 和谐共生 and exist. So just from beginning, maybe we have sent a lot of Chinese language teachers to teaching Chinese. And after that, maybe within this more 10 years, maybe more cooperation with science and technologies. And also, I think maybe we will develop these two areas, together.
I definitely, I agree with you totally when you talk about the importance of humanities, the diffusion of humanities of science and technology, and I do believe that Peking University has a uniqueness in that aspect because of the deep cultural heritage. And thank you so much. And maybe I turn to Professor Tan. You early on you mentioned that you have established partnerships, collaborations with a large number of institutions globally. I think you mentioned more than 200 partnerships. So how would you prioritize these partnerships? There are so many, so probably you cannot work with all 250 in parallel. So how would you prioritize them?
So I was referring to that my faculty members have collaborated with academics from more than 200 institutions. So we don't control them at all. They are free to collaborate. At the more strategic level, there are universities where we have a joint PhD degree, right? And when we have this joint PhD degree, that is a more targeted type of collaboration where PhD students from both sides spend time in both sides and they have co-supervisors. Maybe I should, at one point, other than collaborations with universities, we also pay a lot of attention on collaboration with industry, right? Because when you talk about innovation, you talk about research innovation, industry has to come in.
Yes.
All right, and we have, for instance, a program which dated way back in 2002 called the NUS Overseas College Program. The program came out because we want to expose our students, our undergraduate students, to entrepreneurship. And so we actually started by sending our students to Silicon Valley. So now, my students can go to more than 20 places, right? In North America, we have Silicon Valley, New York City, in Toronto, and we are adding Chicago this August. In Europe, we have Paris, we have Munich, we have Stockholm in Sweden, we have Oslo, Trondheim in Norway. We also have Tel Aviv and Haifa in Israel. In fact, last October, we had to scramble to pull our students out of Israel because of the Israel-Hamas war. Right. And in China, our students are present in Shanghai, Beijing, as well as in Shenzhen. Right? And we're going to add Guangzhou as well as part of the Greater Bay sort of exposure. And in Southeast Asia, we have centers in Vietnam, Thailand, in Indonesia, and we are hoping to set up in Malaysia and Philippines. And last year, I had the opportunity to visit Fujita University and the Nagoya government. So we are going to set up actually also our NOC in Nagoya and in Tokyo. So our students, we send about 400 over students, undergraduates, to these 20-odd places where they do an internship of 6 months to a year. And we are collaborating with a lot of the startups in all these innovation hubs. Tremendous experience because over the last 20 years, we graduated just about 4,000 people who have gone through this program, but they have individually set up more than 1,100 startups.
Wow.
And 2 of them have become unicorns.
That's wonderful.
So this is an example where we have a very structured collaboration with industry, all right, to train our students and our graduates, and they come back and build an ecosystem within Singapore.
Thank you. So when you mentioned Guangzhou, I hope you would send your students to HKUST Guangzhou campus. So.
Certainly.
Yeah. Sure.
A very quick comment. I want to give a plug to the NUS Overseas College, is it what you call? Because when we were setting up our thing in Shenzhen, I talked to Heng Chai, and we talked to your director. It's amazing. He's like 20 years old. Yeah. In fact, it started by Professor Prof. Shi, right?
Prof. Shi Junfeng.
First president at KAUST. But you have to look at it's a long-term investment. Yeah. You describe all the problem in the beginning, but now it's sort of self-running.
Fantastic. So when you have all these collaborations, I mean, if you want to scale them up, have you encountered challenges when you scale them up?
Lots of challenges. Lots of challenges. But the thing is that you need to build relationships first, all right, before you want to scale up. And relationships usually take a long time to build. Relationship needs to survive past presidents and provosts, because they have to be founded at the level of our professors. So the key thing in any sort of relationship is that you need to build a critical mass of professors who are committed to deepen the relationship. So like Fujita has actually, many of my colleagues you know, they are there to build the relationship, all right? It's not usually the president or the provost.
Thank you, Professor Tan. So maybe I turn to Professor Yuzawa. In your speech, you talk about the emphasis you play on international collaborations for Fujita Health University. I mean, can you elaborate a bit more on the approaches that you take to foster that kind of collaboration, you know, to prepare your students, you know, to be this kind of future-ready doctors? I mean, you mentioned the Haneda medical clinic near the airport. I mean, that's one way you can facilitate the connection with other international institutions. So maybe you can elaborate a little bit more on your approaches.
Well, in the basic research, we are now collaborating in the international collaboration in the brain science or infectious disease, so many. But for the international education, I think we have two advantages in the healthcare field. Because Japan, we are now facing the super aging society. So we have accumulated so many experience how to manage the healthcare issues in the super aging. So we have such kind of experience, like rehabilitation or some of the things, and also disaster medicine. So we are now providing this kind of education to the Japanese student. But in the next step, we need to provide this kind of education in the interprofessional education program to the international student. But the problem is that maybe we need to reform the program into the English version. Otherwise, it has a trouble. So it takes a time, I think. And so to promote international collaboration, maybe so far during the pandemic, it's very difficult to hire some staff from the international universities. So we are now thinking that faculty exchange by using the cross appointment, it might be useful. So we are now actively thinking to hire the faculty from the foreign universities by using the cross appointment system. So this might be helpful for us, the international relations of the education or collaborative research, I think. So far, we are now thinking about this kind of...
You mean to appoint them as visiting faculty or adjunct faculty at Fujita?
Yes.
Okay. It's a very good approach. So again, in your talk, you mentioned that Fujita really values the collaboration with industry. Yeah. After all, innovation is a key driver of progress in the healthcare sector. So how do you establish this kind of partnership with industry? Do you encounter any challenges, or maybe you can share your experience with us?
So we have the advantage in our area. We have so many nice industries, basically. So we have so many collaboration with the industry, and also our chairman push about this kind of project. So we have advantage. And, but so far now, in our university hospital, we need some challenge to nurture the physician scientist in the future leader of our university or university hospital. So our dean, he set up the early exposure of the student for the basic research from the first grade of the medical student. So they can start the basic research from the first grade of the student, and maybe during the student, they can write a scientific paper. And after that, maybe they will be physician scientists, some of them. So I think this course is also very important for our universities. Yeah.
Thank you again to all the panelists for sharing their insights with us. Maybe I'll just ask a very general last question. We all believe that technology plays a very important role in the evolution of international academic collaboration. So maybe you can share with us, how would your institution go forward in embracing technology development in terms of the international collaboration? Maybe Tony?
Yeah, just quickly, I do more Zooms than physical meetings, even within the university. Even I'm sitting at home at COUS, many of my VPs would be online. So this helps, actually. But I have one question I want to bring up for the fellow panelists and you. When you have 400 delegations and 200 partnerships, I was reminded of the minister from Kazakhstan, right? You have the partnership. So the question is, do you do it strategically? Do you do it proactively? Do you say no to some? I'm getting a lot. I don't get 400, but I get probably close to 100. Okay, so you have to prioritize. You have to say no, because sometimes otherwise. So I want to know how you handle that. Okay, for example, did Kazakhstan, your ministry, proactively approach this like dozen universities, or they just come to you? It sounds like you strategically approach them, right? If I understand, am I right? Yeah. You have a mic?
Maybe you can share with us your strategy.
Extra panel discussion.
So we have 3 basic principles. It's a very strategic approach. 1, we focus on strategic partners of Kazakhstan. So if you look at them, it's Russian universities, Chinese universities, American, British, German, Turkish, and now we see Hong Kong is part of a Chinese partnership. Second principle, it's top 500 universities. We try to focus on solid research universities with engineering and research background. So if you look at them, it's Heriot-Watt, it's more technology, research, and engineering. And third principle, it's very simple. We approach those universities who have global strategies. Like Heriot-Watt, they already had global campus strategy. So we jumped on them and said, look, you have one in Dubai, you have one in Malaysia, let's have something in the middle so you could connect the dots, right? You can have a continuity in your campus structure. So it's very tailored, very focused approach. Thank you for your question.
I think, do you say no?
I thought they would say no, right?
They would say no, okay.
Thank you, Tony. Professor Gong?
Yes, I think new technology, or for example, AI, we cannot avoid, it should come into our higher education, for our educations, help us for educations. As Professor Chen just mentioned, many parents and students like it, much more than teachers. So, but I think the most important thing is we need to teach next generations the skill, how to learning, how to thinking, and keep a creative mind. I think that's most important. For example, when we are young, we have to calculate. So at that time, people think maybe using calculator, people do not need to learn mathematics. But in premier school, the teacher always likes students to study mathematics and make practice using calculated. So let's go, the skill, keep the skills.
When I was young, we didn't have calculators. We had slide rules. Seriously.
So that's the most important. The second, for teachers, for university governors. So we need to thinking how to make it fair for every people. Because my colleagues told me, when I use ChatGPT, I can make most perfect statistics than people by himself. So if one people using ChatGPT for paper, another person doesn't use it, how to evaluate it? So that's most important for teachers. Yeah. So that's why we wish to have the DI idea arise facing such challenges. Thank you.
Very good point. Yes, Professor.
I just want to add just one point that universities don't change very fast. Right? We have lots of smart people, but the mindset doesn't change as quickly. Right? In terms of technology, I think it's, without doubt, you have to embrace new technology. But what I'm seeing these days, take the AI developments in just the last few years, it is actually all done by the tech companies, right? Not by the universities, right? And they have a different type of culture. They have huge teams, huge resources. They are able to do a very focused type of research, and their motive is really to get something which is marketable. Right? Universities are very different. They are at the other end. All right? We are actually just interested in basic knowledge. Right? I think there has to be a way to bring university academics closer to the DNA of the industry, and hopefully to bring the DNA of the industry closer to that of the academics. But they are dependent on us to provide that blue sky type of research, but they are more interested in the translation. All right. And the second thing that I think we need to change is how research interface with education. And like Professor Kung has mentioned, the importance of training and preparing our graduates, and I've also mentioned that. And if you look at my faculty members at NUS, a lot of them are already using AI in their research. But how many are actually bringing what they are doing in their research to the classroom? Fewer, right? So you need actually people to bring it from the research angle as well as people to bring it from the pedagogy angle. All right, and it has actually to bring it in such a way that it benefits our students. I think this is a challenge. The third thing I'm going to say is that we don't actually have the luxury of time for all these changes to come about. Because by the time I think we are ready to do it, my sense is that the world has moved.
No, I fully agree with that. I mean, I think for faculty, how do you provide incentives, or how do you encourage them so that they can, use the latest technology in education? Tom?
A quick reaction. So I don't think we want to minimize the role of university in developing like AI and deep learning. Yeah. I mean, there are many examples. The Turing Award winners, they're all from universities. They then later on partner with industry. If you look at the people working in Google and so on, they are very often postdocs and students from these people. Yeah. DeepMind, I know some of the people in DeepMind. They're from UCL, the founders. So you need to have that. Without that, it will be cut off. Things like transformers. that are used. They are the whole community. It's not just Google. So I think university key role is advancing the ideas, some of the basic ideas, also the people, the talents.
Yeah, I think they are all part of the same value chain, not segregated, but they need to work together. Fully agree. Professor Yusawa?
So the technology, the innovation is very important. So in my presentation, I showed in the medical field, there are 3 topics: robotics and remote, and also medical LLM. So I think, but this kind of technology is not omnipotent. We have so many issues that we need to overcome. So, for example, in the case of robotic surgery, when we have some trouble during the surgery, robotic surgery, who need to take responsibility about that? So the industry or university, hospital to hire the surgeons or surgeons themselves. Or if we develop the AI-assisted robotic surgery system, what is copyright? Who can take copyright of this kind of technique? The industry or surgeons themselves. It's a very naive, delicate problem. So the comprehensive universities, they can be able to find the solution by themselves, but we need a collaboration with the humanity department to find the solution about that. So in a medical field, anyway, we need international partnership to overcome this kind of technology.
Thank you so much. Again, as we conclude this panel discussion, I just want to thank all the panelists for your insightful comments and for sharing your thoughts with the audience and suggesting, the path forward. And I believe this discussion really highlights the importance of international collaboration in higher education, and we'll continue to work together to contribute to society.
中意名家分析，記得俾 like 同埋分享，支持同訂閱卓見名家，最緊要撳埋呢個鐘仔，咁就唔會錯過我哋嘅新片。